Just a special boy, never talking no harm. He speaks like he's insane. He's had trouble with his brain since the day he was born. Puffing his vapes, taking his pills. Some people talk about your problems, but Gus never will. Getting through life when no one understands how. So sit down and talk with Gus on Puff Up Peace Now.
Welcome back to Puff Puff Peace. Gus back. I've been taking a break off the road. I finally found some time to get out of the Amazon truck, back in the studio, and I'm happy to have joining me today. I met him when I was out in Chicago the first time. Clem, congratulations first. I got to see yours. What was it? The quarters and the semifinals. Or no, just the what was it? The first two rounds of the dozen live. I believe that was in Chicago.
That's right. That's right. It was a historic weekend. Little did I know at the time when we met that we were going to go on finish up our storybook season, but we did, and it was awesome. I'm not going to lie. I'm not a competitive person in life for the most part, but when I want something and I actually do win it, I was pretty goddamn happy, especially when the boss man is happy, everybody's happy, and the boss man was on a heater himself during that time in the gambling world. So, and my boy Ed VP, I'm just happy he can finally get the monkey off his back as well, because we were a absolute train wreck when we first started in the dozen at Team ZD, and our captain steered the ship and he took us to the promised land as he does. So I appreciate it, man. It was good meeting out there. We chopped it up for a bit, and it was a good time.
Did have you always like been interested in trivia, or was this kind of like something you saw everyone else at the company and you were asked like this could be fun, but like you've never like were you a trivia night kind of person?
So like I like going to trivia nights. I never seek them out, but if I ever was out and like, oh, trivia's tonight and we played, I like playing. I feel like I was pretty good. And like yeah, just like, like sports Jeopardy or I used to watch Jeopardy every night when Trebek was host. So it's like I do enjoy trivia in general. I'm not like over the top like a diehard trivia guy by any means, but I like doing it. I like sports trivia in particular, and I love the stuff Jeff does. The pop culture, the mix of everything in the dozen, with like a couple grown up questions here and there. ZD gets like 1 to 2 grown up questions a game. We got like a geography one or something like that. That's actually how we clinched, was a geography question. But yeah, I like trivia, and I have just a lot of useless knowledge in my brain, a lot from fantasy sports over the years. Like I could tell you, like Kevin Walter was a Texan, and like Jorge Cantu is like a guy I had on my radar for years because of fantasy. So, and again, Eddie asked me. This was, I think 2020 is when the dozen launched. And he was like, hey, man, like we have a spot on our team. They had just been getting this thing going. And I think Jeff had said, hey, like Rico and Eddie, you guys need a third. You should reach out to Clem. He's, pretty, he's always like down for whatever. So I joined it. We sucked for a year, but we got it on track. So yeah, I love trivia, and I love the dozen in particular. I think a lot of the stuff at Barstool is at its best when everyone's mingling together, all the different personalities. I think a lot of the reality shows like Surviving, The Dozen, anytime you get a stream with like a bunch of randos, I think when everyone's mixing it together and all the weird brains are popping off each other, that's when the magic happens. And The Dozen is, number one example of that, in my opinion.
You brought it up with like your the fantasy sports and being able to have that sports knowledge. What have you been like since you were a kid? Just sports has been awesome, like a big part of your life.
A huge part of my life. It was one of those things. I won't go into like a deep biography, but I grew up in a house where my dad isn't a huge sports fan. He likes the Giants growing up, and like he instilled the Giants as a team for me. He was a Yankees fan growing up, but he hated Steinbrenner, so he kind of got out of that. And he goes, ever since you like learned how to read, he said I would just like gravitate towards like those like stat books. You know, it was like Clemmer was reading one on his stream, and I go, "Oh my god, that was the book that made me fall in love with baseball and sports in particular." So it's like me and Clemmer already have enough weird brain stuff. You know, we're Mets fans. He's Clemmer, I'm Clem. I mean, physically, we couldn't be more different. But it was one of those things that it was like, holy cow. So I was a diehard sports fan, like from the age of 4, let's say 5, 6, and then fantasy. He actually had a coworker who used to run a fantasy league, and this is, I mean, I'm older than you, but I'm like 8 years older. I think you said you're 90. I'm 82. 1990, I believe, 5 was our first fantasy football league.
So
and
this is
back in, this is, yeah, like I think he had AOL for season 2. He might have had it season 1, like very base, like a bargain basement. But yeah, he was in the newspaper. He'd add up all the stuff, and then he'd, print out the sheets for everyone, and then we'd have him in the morning, and then you had to call him up if you wanted to put in a waiver claim. I still remember this. It was yesterday. Isaac Bruce had a huge Monday Night Football game against the San Francisco 49ers. And I called him, and on Tuesday morning, it's like, I want Isaac Bruce for my team. And it's like, sorry, I picked him up. And I'm like, you're the commissioner. You can't do that. So, I mean, it was lawless, Wild West back then. But pure luck. Because I didn't know any of these guys. At that point, I was like a 12, 13-year-old. I picked up Jeff Blake. He was a Cincinnati Bengals quarterback. And he would just bomb the ball to Carl Pickens and Darnay Scott. So he was awesome. But my dad and I picked up 2 little young rookies who we had knew nothing about. We said, oh, this guy, I remember their names were pronounced different. It was Terrell Davis and Terrell Owens. And we're like, let's just pick them up. Never heard of them. They probably had like a good game. And then we just like coasted to back-to-back championships. And from that point, you're hooked. And I basically went like the next 20 years of my life without a fantasy football championship. But at that point, it's the gateway drug to get me into fantasy baseball. I ran a fantasy basketball league with 8 of my people in my neighborhood. And I would do the same thing. Do the scores by hand with the newspaper, and then bring it in on Monday morning on the bus in like a packet to show your team sickness, pure sickness stuff. So that's like how I became like a die hard. You talk shit on the bus. You're always repping your teams, all that kind of stuff. So I think it's a lot of Northeasterners. During the winter, we don't have a lot going on sometimes, right? So
no, it's only our basketball, hockey, and sports. That's pretty much all we got.
Yep. You said dude.
Did you play any sports growing up?
I didn't play anything in like schools, like organized sports, because I was just not into growing up, you played rec league and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
Baseball, basketball, up to about 8th grade, I suppose. Tried out for a couple, I tried out for basketball, and I was like one of the last cuts, I thought. But the thing for me, and this is the God's honest truth, like I had a neighborhood full of kids, and we were all a year older, a year younger than each other, like a good group of kids, and a couple years younger as well. And we would play football during football season. My parents at one point paved the driveway. We had like a full court basketball hoop in the driveway. So we had that, and we would play to like 100 by ones. Like you would just play for hours. You'd go outside in 30-degree weather, hoodie and pants on. And by the end, you're wearing a t-shirt and shorts because you've been sweating so much. And we would just play for hours. And then during the summers, we played baseball as well. So that was kind of like my way to play sports, is I just played with guys in my neighborhood till about probably, once you start getting older, you're driving, you're starting to get interested in girls and stuff like that. When you're like teenage years, that's when it stops. But like that was our neighborhood. Then you play manhunt at night, and then you start right back in the morning. So I was blessed enough. It wasn't like by any means a huge neighborhood, but it just had a ton of families that all moved in around the same time with kids around the same age. And again, those people were the people we'd be watching, the games with, the boxing pay-per-views, the wrestling pay-per-views. So it's kind of like one of those things where that also makes you a bigger sports fan because you're just obsessed with this stuff.
What would you say is your favorite sport? Like, I've seen you rep everything.
Yeah.
all the New York teams. What would you say is your favorite?
So it's weird. And first of all, I am a Mets. KFC calls me a gypsy fan because I'm a Mets fan and a Giants fan. Because usually it's Mets, Jets, or Giants, Yankees. But again, in my neighborhood, I'm in the burbs, so I'm like some people think I'm from Long Island or New Jersey. I'm from Putnam County, which is Westchester County, the next like town up basically from Westchester County. And it's like a melting pot, man. Like you'll have some Jets, Yankees fans, you have some Mets, Giants fans, and you'll have your traditional Yankees, Giants, Mets, Jets. But for me, it's weird. My favorite sport is NFL football. I love NFL football. It's by far my number one sport. I love the Giants, but they probably are number 3 on my list because, like I said, the 80s Mets are what got me into baseball. Mookie Wilson, Darryl Strawberry, Dwight Gooden, Lenny Dykstra, those kind of guys are, I can name every player on the team. I love them all. Howard Johnson, Kevin Elster. I was obsessed with like everybody as you are when you're a kid, right? And I wish that dumb idiot was a Yankees fan because then I would have had the entire 90s during my formative years to be rooting for World Series championships. But whatever, neither here nor there. But I get into sports because of the Mets, but then I'm wearing my Knicks shirt right now. Those 90s Knicks were the first teams that I ever like fell in love with, watched every, pregame, in-game, post-game, read the paper as soon as it came out, went right to the Knicks section. Mitch Lawrence, I think, was the Daily News writer back in the day. I got into like the free agency, all that kind of like deep in the weeds kind of stuff. So it's like, it's probably, if I think they said this on the stream the other day, they asked me like, if I had to choose one championship, who would I choose? And it's like the Knicks caused more tears from like those 90s years where it meant too much a little bit. And they got as like pretty far, the finals twice. Jordan would be always a roadblock. So it's like, that is one way, but 162 games every year. And the Mets are just, they torture us every year in ways you can't imagine where it's embarrassing. I'd say I probably choose the Mets over the Knicks, but it's like, if it was like 100% Mets, it's probably like 95% Knicks. So it's very close. And the fact that they're both on the right path right now, it's like a dream right now.
Yeah, it seems like at least the rivalry between, I think the Boston-New York rivalry for the past, 7-8 years really felt kind of not as big. But I think now, as you're seeing with the Knicks and Celtics kind of getting this success, maybe that can kind of be the spark to if the Red Sox can ever get their shit together, which I doubt.
Well, this is the thing too, is that I've always liked Boston sports for the most part because the Patriots had Belichick, and that's a different conference than the Giants. I love Bill Belichick as a Giants fan growing up. My dad, again, he's not a diehard sports guy, but he had like a couple like things. And I remember he's like, after they won the Super Bowl against the Bills in 90, I guess it was 91 was the Super Bowl was played, Super Bowl 25. He's like, that defensive game plan was one of the greatest defensive game plans ever put out, where they, let Thurman Thomas run wild and they beat the crap out of the receivers. So I was always like, if the Giants are out of it or whatever, I was like, I'd root for the Pats. And then, the Pats go on and have this huge dynasty. Of course, it got weird when the Giants go play them in 07 and 11, which again, the Giants, I love them. They're probably my third in terms of like live and die. And they gave me the greatest memory I'll ever have as a sports fan. They beat an 18-0 team in the Super Bowl in an unbelievable ending. So this is the thing though, as a Mets fan, this is, I think this is, I used to think it was more prevalent, but I'm getting a lot of I get a couple of Red Sox haters bubble up on the internet, which is just what the internet is. All right. But I always considered the Mets and the Red Sox to be like allies in a way. And it's, I call it the Met Sox
until
connection.
86.
Yeah, exactly. 86 is tough, but it's enough time has passed. In 03, and I was in college in 03 and 03. Actually, I was out by 04, but in 03, I was rooting for the Red Sox just as hard, we'll say 1% less than the Red Sox were, because I hated all these Yankees fans I grew up with. And I call it the Met Sox connection because I'm a Mets fan. And then by August, we're usually dead. And I'm like, all right, everyone but the Yankees from this point forward basically are the Braves and the Phillies. But at that point, the Yankees. And it's, the Red Sox became their rival in the 2000s, especially, they actually gave it back to them. 04 was marvelous. It was one of the greatest baseball memories I have because the Mets haven't given me that many at that point. And I just I consider the Met Sox connection a beautiful thing. I have no reason to the Celtics were never really good at the same time as the Knicks very much. They had the Knicks ended the KG Pierce era. Then they, Brooklyn became their farm, their feeder system for lottery picks after that. Yeah, it was great. And now, though, I can see Knicks, Celtics, maybe the top two teams in the East. It could become like a battleground. But at this point, the Pats are kind of irrelevant to me. And I still like the Red Sox. I was mad when you guys moved. I wanted Mookie, but I get mad when you guys lose or, because I know.
Oh, yeah.
these idiot AL Central teams aren't going to take care of the Yankees for me. The Royals just go down without a fight.
It's the shitty ownership. I'm telling you, that's that. It's fucking shitty ownership. It sucks. It's frustrating.
Man. But hey, it got you. It got you not only 04, it got you other World Series and memories you could never take back.
7.
This is like a reminder to Mets fans. If we ever reach the promised land, there is a chance it all could all flip. So like, hopefully we can get something and enjoy.
Just keep the chicken and beer out, and then you're fine.
Oh God. Oh God.
With kind of changing topics, I'm looking at. I see your Die Hard poster in the back. That's one of my favorite movies. Are you a big movie guy as well? Like I know your Game of Thrones. I watched your Game of Thrones recap. What would you say is like? Are you the movie buff, or is it more of like a TV series and you appreciate great movies like Die Hard?
So Die Hard, I think, is the best movie of all time. First of all, that's first and foremost. It's the best comedy of all time. It's the best action movie of all time. It's the best Christmas movie of all time. If you want to go down that stupid street for the
it's not stupid. That's a rule in my house. My wife even knows that as soon as I take a shit after Thanksgiving, the Christmas season begins, and then I watch Die Hard.
I like that's the official tip off is once the turkey's gone through you. My wife, she's the same thing. She's like, are we gonna do Home Alone tonight or Elf or Die Hard? And I'm like, she just lumps it on the list. And the beauty about Die Hard is I could also watch it in like June and it doesn't feel weird. So it is by far my favorite movie. John McClane is the greatest hero in movie history. Hans Gruber is the greatest villain in movie history. I love a bunch of movies. I mean, I don't know if it's like that's a rare take. I have a couple. I have like a couple TV shows I am super passionate about. Thrones, obviously, especially when it was cruising. The Simpsons, seasons 1 through 8, maybe 10. I don't, it gets a little dicey there. Is I think what is the greatest TV show in history at that point. The Wire is currently the greatest TV show in history in my mind. Breaking Bad, Sopranos. And for Barstool, I like to cover, some TV shows, so I love them. But I also have movies that I like will just watch until, the DVD base was burnt through. Ace Ventura. Billy Madison's the greatest comedy of all time, in my opinion, other than Die Hard. Like Lebowski, I'll just throw on all the time. I'll throw on Infinity War, Endgame. I just watched Empire Strikes Back last night with my son. So it's like, I do enjoy some nice cinema. It may not be your typical like artsy movies, but I enjoy like a good, just great movies. Pulp Fiction, I get obsessed with a couple things in the Tarantino universe. I love movies. I love sport. I'm kind of like, definitely love my sports, but I am not just that. I kind of if you look at my shelf right here, I got above the fireplace is a shelf with just a bunch of Funkos, bobbleheads, whatever. I'm like a big kid, and I'm looking at it here. I'll just go down the line.
I don't know if you can see mine either, too. I got like the same thing.
Yeah, you do. Yep, exactly.
I got Captain America, like a whole Captain America corner.
Yeah, you do. That's sick. Oh, Robbie would love that. But like, I'll just go down real quick on this, like what I'm looking at. R2-D2, Biggie, Alex Trebek, Eli Manning, John McClane, and Hans Gruber, Tony Soprano, 3 guys from The Wire, 3 people from Game of Thrones, David Wright, Mookie Wilson. So it's like, that is, if you take all that, put it in a pot, mix it up. That is kind of my like interest right there, is everything on that shelf.
What's a movie that you would always go to that you think would surprise people? That's like, I love this movie, that people would be like, really?
That's a good question. I don't know if there's anything that would surprise people. So for example, I know something that surprised people, and it was kind of started as an ironic thing. Was when I was first started at Barstool, everyone kind of had their takes. Like Fights was obsessed with Taylor Swift, right? And Dave would have his Justin Bieber thing. So I'm like, I'll get into someone that I actually kind of think is good. And I remember I was like, you know what? This guy Bruno Mars has some fucking hits, and I feel like he's kind of being slept on a little. It was after his first album, and then I just was like, oh, I'm gonna lean into it. And then the more I listened, and the more I got into him, I was like, I just love Bruno Mars. He's fucking, and I'm like, he's going to play a Super Bowl. I think, as I said, in like 3 to 5 years. I think he played it like the next year. Like a guy hit an even faster trajectory than I could have imagined. So like in terms of like, I guess the music side of things, Bruno Mars would be that guy. Cause I know it was one of my niches in the Dozen solo tournament last year. And people are like, Clem, I didn't realize you got down with Bruno. I'm like, oh yeah, I get down with Bruno big time. I'm trying to think I'm not a horror guy. I'm not a like romantic movie guy. Ocean's 11 was like my binky or my blankie. I think it was like a year where I just would put that on and go to sleep to it because it's such like a good comfort food movie. I'm like looking around the posters in my room here. And again, the other thing I guess you mix into all this stuff is video games because I have a Mario Kart poster here. I got a Punch Out poster there. So that kind of is that's the makeups of my brain, so those things all together. But yeah, in terms of movies, there's not I kind of like, it's like lame to say, but it's like Pulp Fiction. Awesome. I love Forrest Gump, Shawshank Redemption, Godfather, all the, Goodfellas, all that kind of stuff. Wolf of Wall Street, if you look at my like recently watched, there's not a lot of, like crap in there. However, there is a movie I always recommend to someone if they're like, Clem, I want to watch a movie I've never seen before. What do you recommend? And at that point, you have to go with something that's a little off the beaten path. And I'll usually say Lucky Number 11. Did you ever see that?
No.
Check it out.
Lucky Number 11.
Lucky Number 11. It's kind of like I guess like a mafia, not a mafia movie. It's about a couple guys who it's Josh Hartnett, Sir Ben Kingsley, Morgan Freeman, Bruce Willis is in it. My guy, Lucy Liu, I believe, is in it, and it's just has to do with kind of like an organized crime thing. It's a revenge movie. I think it's awesome. It's more well known is what's that movie with Hugh Jackman, the magician movie, The Prestige. That's I think a little more well known than Lucky Number 11. But those are the two that I always throw at people. Like if you haven't seen these yet, check it out. It's like a good movie. It gets you thinking, and it has some good twists and turns in it. Have you seen Prestige?
I have not seen, right?
I have not seen Prestige. Right. Get back to me on those two.
I will. Okay, I will get back to you on Lucky Number 11 and Prestige. I wrote them down, so I wanted to make sure.
Beautiful, beautiful.
So you're a Mario Kart guy.
I think it's the greatest video game franchise of all time. I go through this all the time in my mind. It's that or Grand Theft Auto for me because you could just play them like forever, right? And
I mean, you still see it with 5. With Grand Theft Auto 5.
Yeah,
I could pick it up right now and just pick up where I was and just keep rolling and doing what I'm doing.
And they make $1 bazillion off the online, which they actually do care about and take care of and whatever. I don't do that. I kind of just like do the missions and I'm done. I buy Madden every year. I play my like franchise like an old man offline by myself. And after like 2 seasons and football's done, then I move on to like I'm back into NBA 2K because the Knicks are good now, so I don't hate basketball actively from like Christmas on. But yeah, Mario Kart, it's one of those games I could play. I played, obviously, you play with your buddies growing up, but I could play with my parents. I could play with my kids. I could play with my wife. I could play with my friends. I could play with video game extras. I could play with someone who's never picked up a controller, and everyone has fun during it. Everyone feels like they have a chance to win, or at the very least, you have just fun, great moments. It's the best, man. I wish that they were like, they do this a lot with these Nintendo games. They kind of just like will reheat an older game. Like I think the new Mario Kart that's been for the Switch was I think for Wii U, and then they just kind of reheated it because they're like, no one bought it for this, so everyone's buying Switches. Yeah. We're just gonna redo it. They added some maps, and I'm like, I kind of wanted a little bit more, but I have a little bit of a hot take. I don't know if it's the best Mario game of all time, but I'll say Double Dash for the GameCube was a top 3 Mario Kart game, and it could be the greatest ever.
I agree. Just to have the ability to be able to switch drivers, and and then you get
change the items. Everyone had a special item. Was so awesome. And my guys, I'm a Yoshi guy usually, diehard Yoshi guy. However, in a couple games, they make Yoshi go from lightweight to middleweight, and when he's middleweight, he's not fast enough. I'm a big dude. I need a guy who starts fast because I can't start fast in real life. So so in that one they made Yoshi too big. So I switched to the little guys. I was Diddy Kong and Baby Bowser. So I had like the giant banana and the giant shell, which you put that thing in Baby Park, it causes chaos. For the most part, they weren't great in a lot of levels, but it didn't matter because it was such a fun game and had a little more strategy where you had to figure which driver you were going to be. I thought it was, and the thing is, just GameCube wasn't a big enough hit. I have it in I found it. I hooked it up in my playroom. I got it.
Still working?
Yeah. Oh yeah.
See, I remember Donkey Konga was the game I begged my mom for. And I guarantee you, if you ask her, like, what's the one game she ever regretted getting me, had to be that.
Why?
How loud was me going, like, you're slapping the drums, you're clapping the shit?
That's a fair point.
She had to have wanted to kill me at that point.
And like, I was gonna say that's on the parent, but if the kid's haunting you for it, you have to like do your research as a parent. I'm a parent, and like my parents got my daughter, for her first birthday, a drum set. And I go, are you serious right now? I was like, is this a sitcom? And like, is there a hidden camera? Like, why would you get a drum set for, a 1-year-old with two parents that clearly haven't slept since this child's been born? And now we're gonna have to deal with like drums whenever she wants to play. And I was like, and we shipped it to their house, and it was there for like 6 years. And then once my son got old enough, he's like, Dad, and he just kept bothering us to bring it back. We did. Luckily, it's just collecting dust. But you have to be like Donkey Konga. It's gonna be a lot of noise. Now, if you're haunting them, that haunting is going to be worse than hearing a couple bangs or whatever. But I understand where you and your mom are both coming from there.
Oh, I was just gonna say, I know my personality enough that like I was fucking like bang 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 the whole time. But this is what the beauty of video games, bringing everyone together. This is why I say it. This is why I'll do my sometimes on this. I'll also stream gaming with Gus, and I'll do like my lawnmower simulator game. It is probably my favorite game to play right now.
That's those simulator games are incredible, Mike. So again, bringing people together. My kids, we got a Switch and a PlayStation 5 here, and it's like we have what do they have? It's called Power Washer Simulator. I'm like, man, they really got everything covered in this simulator game.
I've done it. I've done Power Washer Simulator. I've played it. I've streamed it.
That's awesome, man. And it does bring people together. So my daughter, when she was young, she got into Fortnite when it first kind of got big, and she would watch me play. And all I would do is go around with the pickaxe and break toilets and be like, "Bye bye toilet," and she would laugh, belly laughs. You couldn't get out of her any other way. And now my son and I, we play together. We have the Switch and the PlayStation, so we can both play with each other. And we win Battle Royale. He's going crazy. He gets obsessed with it, and it's something I can understand and talk to him with. Roblox, I'm lost on Roblox. I'm lost on Minecraft. But Fortnite, I got in, pretty early and know my stuff. I got killed back when like gamers played. Now I feel like I'm just beating up a bunch of first graders, and it's awesome. I got all my revenge from when I still can't build. Yet all these people be building skyscrapers, and I couldn't shoot them. Now I'm just like lighting up just kids who don't know what they're doing. It's beautiful.
I was gonna say you sound like me when they came out with no build mode. I was like, jokes on them. Jokes on them. I've been playing no build mode the whole time.
Yeah, exactly. Welcome to the Thunderdome, baby. This is what I'm doing since day one. I don't understand how people can do that to this day. I'm like, it's just different brains. They're just wired different.
I'm impressed when if I watch a streamer do that, it's their ability to build, and not only just build, but build so fast.
So fast.
I'm like, it's like when someone solves a Rubik's Cube in like 5 seconds.
Yes, same frenetic motion, and it's just unexplainable to like an idiot like me.
And one more thing I wanted to touch on for sure with you is snacks. You and Eddie have your new snack pod. You're trying a bunch of stuff. I love snacks, as you can tell.
Yeah, they go hand in hand.
I'm a big snacker. What would you say is your favorite? Like, if you're on a road trip, you're at the gas station, you have to pick one thing that you can get for free. This is your free item. You're walking into that gas station. What are you walking out with? So
if we're doing free item, I'll take the big bag. Usually I get the little bag for a road trip. But my number one snack in terms of road trip, aside for a lunch, just watching the game, it's nacho cheese Doritos. It's been that way since I was like, 10. That was back in the day. We had a CVS in my mall, which also had a movie theater. So I go in, get a bag of Doritos and like a Coke or something, sneak it in, and that would be my like snack or whatever. So it is by far clear nacho cheese Doritos, the red bag. And I've grown to really appreciate the purple bag as I've gotten older. I got no hate towards Cool Ranch and the blue bag, but the nacho cheese Dorito, I think it's the king. And the only problem is on the road trip, you can get a little bit of orange on the fingers. Not as bad as like cheese doodles, but it's still not great. But you're telling me, free. I'm getting a free take, and at this point, it's like $6.57 for those things. So I'll take that for free for sure.
Yeah,
what about you? What's your go-to?
Oh, it depends the state of mind I'm in.
Oh yeah, of course, for sure.
Because if I'm high like I am now, the answer is going to be Funyuns. I fucking love Funyuns. I'm okay with onion rings, but I hate I'm really not like an onion. Really, I'm not a vegetable person.
I don't like the crispiness of onion rings. Like, I'm sorry, of the onion. I like a crispy onion ring, but I don't like chewing. I don't like onions. You know what I mean?
That's the weird, exactly. So that's why like the onion rings. I'm just like I will scarf down an entire like. I was with my wife the other day at one of like the wholesale clubs up here, and 2 for $8, big bags of Funyuns. I'm like, fuck yeah, I'm getting one of those.
I'm getting more into Funyuns. Funyuns were something I always avoided because I just didn't like onion rings, mostly because of the consistency of the onion. Like if I get a cheesesteak, I don't get onions or peppers on there. I just get the cheese and the steak. I do like the flavor, but I don't like, crunching my food and whatnot. And I'm cool with vegetables. I'll have some broccoli. Believe it or not, I will eat some vegetables. But I'm with you on that. It's honest. A lot of people are like that. Like I don't like a chunky sauce if I'm making a tomato sauce. I want it to be relatively smooth and whatever. But I've just gotten into Funyuns in probably the last year or so, and then we've had a couple of Funyun like one-off flavors on Snack Boys. And it's fucking, there's a reason that bag has been around all these years. They're fucking awesome, man. I want to say the most slept on chip.
It's like, I don't know how to describe it. It's just like the airiness of it is perfect. It doesn't get like your fingers don't get too bad. Like they get that little kind of dust on it, but it's not like terrible. And it's just, the flavor just hits right. I don't know. I don't know. It just hits like, if I'm out driving doing some deliveries and like I have a bag of Funyuns with me, it's just easy to snack, easy to go down, and it just tastes good.
Yeah, and the flavor scientists that made Funyuns, it's also like the perfect like thickness, and the fact it's in a circle, I just love it. They nailed every single aspect of it, and at least growing up, I don't know if it was, I think it was in Half Baked, right, where they talk about Funyuns. So it always had kind of the stoner connotation with it, right? Get some Funyuns, man, right? So I do feel like those two go hand in hand. However, my kids recently, we got the chip variety bag from Costco, but it was the like more fun version. It wasn't the basic version, and it had Funyuns. And my daughter is like, I love Funyuns. And I'm raising a connoisseur now. I feel like if she's a Funyun girl, that goes a long way. I also say this is one of my takes in life that I truly do live by. Marry a green shell girl. What's a green shell girl? A girl that can not only play Mario Kart, but she can occasionally hit you with a green shell. That just shows someone who just kind of gets it in life. And marry a Funyun girl too, if you can. That's someone who will try some good foods and not just go with the basics. And I'm hoping I'm raising a good one right here.
I mean, it sounds like she can green shell and likes Funyuns. She's on the good path.
Yes, and it's because I'll take some of the like not to blame the credit as the dad, but her mom was like cool ass chick, and that's the reason why she comes from good roots. I want now. Let me hear this. I guess you could do the same, get for free, or just like if I say go to chocolate candy, what is it? Your number one chocolate candy?
Oh, Snickers.
Okay, fair enough. That's my 2. Reese's Peanut Butter Cups my 1. Snickers is my 2 though. And I have them I think I have Reese's Peanut Butter Cups on their own tier, but it could be right there. They could be on the same tier. I think
it's the nougat for me. Like I love peanut butter cups. It's like my top 3 are Snickers, Twix, peanut butter cups.
Same 3 right here. Right here.
And it's Twix and peanut butter cups. It's depending on my mood, but like the other day I got a 6-pack of Snickers and I was so happy. Like we're going to pick up Halloween candy and I'm making sure every box I pick out has like the pack of Snickers.
Yeah, you got to make sure you have the Snickers in there because all the different candy companies they mix around. And then what's your go-to fruit candy now?
Fruit candy, what have I been like the Jolly Rancher gummies?
Those I haven't had them since I tried them when they first came out, and I was like, oh, okay. And I've been kind of eyeing them at the grocery store lately, being like, I got to try these again. And you know what? I just haven't been doing it. That answer is going to make me do it the next time I'm at the store. That's a promise.
My two favorite artificial fruit flavors are cherry and the banana Laffy Taffy. I love banana Laffy Taffy.
I hate bananas. So I hate banana Laffy Taffy. I hate banana runts. However, I do appreciate that they are beloved by some people. So I got no beef with you. And Laffy Taffy is a hell of a candy too.
I feel like, I don't know. I feel like I'm in the I feel like more people dislike banana than like banana.
Probably. I think it's the one, it's the yellow. Lemon is the last one taken for, the other candies, and then banana for the,
because I would always make out like a bandit, like if someone brought in a bag with like all the things and everyone's this out, I look in there, it's like 8 bananas. I'm like, fuck yeah.
But hey, yeah, that's a win for you. My dad was like, he goes, lemon Starbursts are the best. And I'm like, no, they're not. And he was just the younger brother that got left with this lemon Starburst. So that's what he grew up on, essentially, which Starburst is my go-to fruit. That's my number one with a bullet, an absolute bullet. I'm appreciating Skittles more as I get older, but Starburst is like hammered. It's nacho cheese Doritos, Reese's Peanut Butter Cup, and Starburst have been hammered in the one spot for decades for me, and I don't think they'll ever fall. If they ever fell, I'll kind of be shook that it would have to be a new candy out of nowhere to come and take the crown, because everything else has been out for years, and I never once wavered.
So what are you washing this down with?
Well, at some point I was like, all right, we can't be drinking like the sugar stuff. It's like if you're eating Starburst or whatever. So my growing up though, back when I was just throwing down the leadeds or whatever you want to call it with it would be like a soda. Like I think at its highest, like probably Cherry Coke was like my favorite soda. I get that. You go to the movies, big ass popcorn, and then a tub of Cherry Coke. Those are mine. What about you?
See, it depends on what I'm doing. Like if I do need to pick me up, it's going to make me sound so bad, but I love Monster, just the original Monster Energy. Mm-hmm. Like give me that. When I used to do landscaping in the summer, I used to get the big fucking can. That was like the huge, it was called the BFC, and it was like 1630. It was 64 ounces. It was a 64 ounce can. And I had a lot of energy for like
that'll
2 hours after that. But normally, if I can catch one of the, I like the mix stations where I can put my own flavors in, because then I'll do I've been doing even Mountain Dew with like cherry and lemon lime. So it's like a little citrus cherry Mountain Dew, or like Mellow Yellow is the same way. And would be that. But also lately, I've also been doing just body armor. Any of the flavored body armor is it's good. It goes down quick, and then I'll get liquid IVs as well too. I like liquid IVs.
Body armor, we have a ton of them at HQ, and every time I'm there, I'm like, cha-ching, baby, let's go. I got whatever I want. I'm very happy with that.
When I was in Chicago for those days, I definitely took I had quite a few body armors. They were delicious. I love body armor.
Beautiful.
So before we wrap things up, one of my favorite questions is, do you have any other questions for me?
That is a good question. Were you always a Cap guy? Was Cap your guy, or your comic book Cap guy, or when the movies came out?
So it started when the movies came out, and then I started to like the character, and then once the movie started to come out, I got into the comics. Mm-hmm. So, and then I started reading. Actually, I have I think it's Penguin Books has been doing these special editions of characters. So my wife last year got me Captain America's for it. So it has the essential Captain America comics, the originals.
Yep.
So I got that. I have a Hulk one. Now I have the Fantastic Four and X-Men. So I just need Black Panther to finish that collection. But I've always liked Cap. Deadpool now, especially with the way Reynolds portrays him, it's we just went to Target and I had a choice. I could have gotten a t-shirt, or I got buy one, get one free Funkos. So I got the Funkos I got were Deadpool,
Oh,
Wolverine.
nice.
But wait. It's not over because they each came with Headpool
Yes.
and Baby Pool.
Oh man.
So I was like, oh, I gotta get those. So they're gonna be going up into the collection of Funkos.
I love it.
But-
I love it. I had to take my daughter to Deadpool. I fought it because I'm, she's not a violent movie person, and it was obviously rated R and the curse words. But she had been bugging me, and she had a friend who she's known since like they were 2, and he's a big Deadpool, and his parents didn't really want to see it, so I was like, I'll take him. Like it was like an off day where I had to burn like 2 hours. So like, if you guys want me to take him, and they were like, oh my god, thank you. So I took him. And my daughter's obsessed with Deadpool now. It's all she talks about is Deadpool. So it's hard. Have you ever read Deadpool's Secret Wars?
No.
Have you ever
I'm
read
putting this
Secret
on the
Wars?
Yes, I have read Secret Wars.
We read Secret Wars, Robbie Fox and I, for our podcast. We said, let's do a comic book club for an episode where we read it. And then this guy, Jose Youngs, who's an awesome comic book guy who knows so much stuff about everything. We had him on and we kind of just chopped it up about Secret Wars. And during that, he was telling me how there is a thing called Deadpool Secret Wars that they made, I think it was relatively recently. And 2015. And essentially, Deadpool gets taken into the Secret Wars, but he's always off panel, I guess. And he's living his own Secret War. So he's there for all the craziness that goes down. And he has experiences with all the other characters of Secret Wars, but it's Deadpool. And the way he explained it, and he's not, I don't know if Jose's a big Deadpool guy, but he said it is incredible. So check it out, especially if you're a Deadpool guy.
Oh, definitely.
Deadpool Secret Wars.
Heck yeah. Oh, but awesome. I want to thank you, Clem, so much for coming on today. This was fun.
Yeah, man, I had a blast. That was my other question. How many balls do I get as, for the interview? 1 to 5 balls is the ball scale.
Oh, 5 balls.
Oh, man, I'll take it. 5 balls.
Bam, bam. All right. Awesome. Thank you, everyone, for tuning in, and we'll be back at some point, probably next week, with another great episode here on Puff Puff Peace.
Just a special boy, never talking no harm.